everyone. This is another episode of Natural is F. I'm your host, Dr. Ferrante Frazier. We have a wonderful, exciting show for you today. A lot of us are suffering from a compulsive habits. We're suffering from addictive habits, and we tend to procrastinate so often. And what we're going to be talking about in this show is how to overcome the compulsive habits and how to overcome the addictive habits that is causing us to suffer so much. We have a new uh, co-host up here that's joining us today, Miss Tia. Say hello, Tia, to everyone. Like I said, this is Natural as F. And we're actually here every Tuesday at 6 o'clock teaching you a holistic way to health called natural hygiene. You can get in touch with us at heal.me/FF. That's heal, HEAL.me/FF. Now, we had a show not too long ago where we were talking about eating disorders, which there were 3 eating disorders. Now, we're not medical doctors, we're not herbalists or anything of that nature. We are just educators of natural hygiene, teaching people how to live in such a way where their body will automatically heal naturally, or they can prevent disease from occurring in their body, provided that they don't poison themselves or neglect their bodies or anything of that sort. So we talked about these 3 eating disorders. One of them was the bulimic. The bulimic was one who would eat and then throw the food up. And we also talked about the anorexic, the one who just didn't eat, but still saw themselves overweight and stuff like that. Then you didn't have that many people who suffer from anorexia, or you didn't have that many people suffering from bulimia, but mostly all of the world peoples fall under the third category, which is compulsive eater. All right, so the compulsive eater is what mainly the whole world suffers from. We eat from compulsion. Most people, if they ride by Burger King, McDonald's, or Popeyes or KFC, they pumping all this fumes out. And when you pass by, as soon as you smell chicken, ooh, I want chicken. I'm hungry. Or as soon as you ride past McDonald's, ooh, I smell them nuggets. I smell the fish pat. I smell the Big Mac. Oh, those fries. And you start seeing the fries. You see yourself eating it. You see yourself eating the chicken, the biscuits and stuff like that, and it makes you hungry. So your hunger is not a true hunger. It's stimulated by the compulsive thought of eating this addictive food that have you so addictive to the poisons that are in the food. All right. So what you got going on back there, cuz? What are you fixing? We can't hear you. You're muted.
I was making some potatoes for the lady and some broccoli and carrots.
Oh, so you fixing a
Yeah.
good meal for someone that you're helping to correct some health issues, huh?
Yes, some steamed veggies. Yes, sir.
You see, that's what you would consider to be like one of those hygienic nurses back in the days. Us holistic doctors, we would tell, hey, this is what need to be done, and this. But then you go in there and actually do the hands-on work to get them up and running.
Get them right.
That's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing. We call you Nightingale.
Yeah. Well, let me know if I'm too loud in the background because I'll mute myself.
You're okay. Matter of fact, I was gonna start asking you some questions. Are you familiar with the concept of addiction? I know you done heard the term addiction a lot. We should
Yeah.
have Michaela coming up here in a minute, and um, she does talk a lot about addiction as well. But before we go into this compulsive and procrastination, we want to hit some of the foundation of what brings us to procrastination. what causes us to procrastinate? Not just because, you know, just out of willy-nilly. There's some steps that forces us to unconsciously, below the level of consciousness, to procrastinate in changing our life. Who don't want to be healthy? Who don't want to live long?
Right. Right.
Something have to be, blocking our vision to manifest that stuff into our life. So there have to be something, and what we want to first talk about is addiction. And I'm going to read the definition of addiction by a couple of people. And then I want you to, if you want to elaborate on what you think, how that's causing us to procrastinate a little bit. All
Okay.
right. Addiction is, by definition, the continual and irresistible repetition of a destructive practice that leads to progressively worsening stages of mental, emotional, physical health. Addiction, so defined, is, of course, the bitter enemy of the health seeker. All right, so that's one definition of addiction. It is the
Hmm.
definition, the continual and irresistible repetition of a destructive practice that leads to progressively worsening stages of mental, emotional, and physical health.
Right.
What do you think about that?
Well, sounds like what it is. Exactly what it is. As far as me, I can only speak for my own self in my life. Um, Addiction is, in lack of better words, brain damage. Basically, you don't have the programming, or it's not sparking or the connection that you need to realize that what you're doing to yourself is killing yourself, and you're doing it in a repetitious way, which can be considered insanity, but it's referred to as addiction.
So what if you don't know what you're doing is damaging to your emotions? Like, for example, we grew up, in our family, because think about it, we grew up eating a bunch of fat back, fried chicken, turkey wings, oxtails over red rice, with the collard
But we
greens,
also
all the
seeing
good.
the effects of all that stuff on our people and on ourselves. So it still goes back to the mind and the brain and the development of it, as far as the brain damage, like I was referring back to, because of the simple fact, even though we grew up in that state and that's something you've seen traditionally, something should go off in your mind when you start seeing family members die off from diabetes, cancers, and all these ailments, because they too live the same way. Something should go off, something should spark. But I guess over time, after you utilize this and it desensitizes you, then you think the very ailments are passed down through your bloodline. I guess what they make you think it's hereditary,
Right.
instead of you just realizing it's something else you should be doing.
So here I'm hearing the continual and irresistible repetition of a destructive practice that leads to progressively worsening stages of health, mental, emotional, physical health. So even though a lot of our people are seeing people suffer from diabetes, high blood pressure, cancer, uh, going blind, losing limbs, and all type of stuff, and
Right.
unwilling to give up their honey bun, unwilling to give up their, their pound cakes, unwilling to give up, all the seafood that's causing them to have all the flare-ups, they lupus and all type of different things of that nature. They're unwilling to give up those things, but here it is. They're seeing people suffer. They're seeing themselves starting to suffer, but they still have this so-called addiction or this addictive personality that's allowing them to continuously do the very thing to cause them to become worse, sicker, and even lead to their death. Is that
Right.
lining up with the definition?
Yes.
So
That's lining right up with the definition.
So, according to the early stages of addiction, we're going to go down the addictive syndrome too, and I want you to Bear with me a little bit, but we're going to work down the addictive syndrome too before we go into procrastination as well. But
Okay.
during the early stages of addiction, the individual builds up a tolerance to and like a dependence on the addictive substance. Now, this don't have to always be a substance. It can be a repetition of going to the park every day. It can be a repetition going to the gym and exercising. So it don't always have to be a negative addiction, and we're going to talk about that too. It can be a positive
Right.
addiction.
Right. You
We
can do
call
too
that the
much of
PA
anything.
scale.
Right.
Right. So it's in the early stages. When you're starting a thing, you're going to learn to tolerate it, and the more you're able to tolerate it, and you develop a dependence upon it, that's when it's going to start holding you in a grip pliers. You know what I'm saying? Or in a mean grip.
So basically, what you're
Trying
saying, like
to,
whatever you don't have control over has control over you.
yeah, because once it gets you in a grip and you try to break it cold turkey, man, you're going to start having withdrawal symptoms. You're going to start having tortures of trying to stop a thing. You're going to have the tortures. Your body, like, let's look at like heroin, for example. A person stops the use
Right.
of heroin, their
It's a
body goes
physical
into
body
shock.
withdrawal.
Yeah,
Right.
it goes into mean shock. But that's we know the withdrawal symptoms of heroin. But what if we start withdrawing from, we calling it hunger because we ate breakfast at 10 o'clock in the morning, and by lunchtime
Hmm.
we it's 12 or 1, and we sitting there raving this hunger pain. And we're
Right.
thinking that those are true hunger pains when they're actually just a withdrawal sensation of not being narcotized by some stimulating food, some addictive food that we're used to eating, the grease, the salts, the
Hmm.
sugars, the all the other seasonings that we put on our foods and stuff like that. So we're actually addicted to food. And by us being addicted to food, then when we don't eat for 2 or 3 hours, we start, oh God, I'm about to die. You know what I'm saying? Oh,
Right.
I gotta stop and get something to eat. So we're
That's a
having
fact.
torture. We're thinking it's hunger, but it's actually torture that we're going through of withdrawals when we don't eat for a couple of hours or so. It's not true hunger. Because you've gone so many days without eating, right?
Right.
I got this. I was reading in the
Six to the
Bible.
most.
I was reading in the Bible. And remember what you said, 6 right there. But I was reading in the
Hmm.
Bible, and it's a story of a guy they call Jesus who actually did 40 days and 40 nights of fasting. He didn't eat or drink. Now, if this story, now a lot of people who follow the Bible, they believe in Jesus and that he didn't lie or anything like that. So if he said that he went 40 days and 40 nights without eating and drinking, well, you can imagine his stomach made that growling noise right a couple of times, right? You can imagine he had a headache. You can imagine he had that all gone feeling that we call hunger pains. You know
He
what I
went through
mean?
all the withdrawals.
Right. But it said after 40 days, he became hungry. It didn't say that those was hunger sensations that he were going through. It said after 40 days, he became hungry. So what was that feeling? You know what I'm saying? To let him
What
or
was he going
signal
through
to
before
him
he got
that
there?
he was hungry.
Right.
You see what I'm coming from? But
Yes,
a
sir.
lot of us don't know what hungry is because we don't know because we never went 40 days and 40 nights and became hungry. As soon as we get a gnawing sensation or we get that all gone feeling or the clock hit 12 o'clock,
We
it's
ready.
lunchtime. You know, that's what we call hungry. You know what I'm saying? That
Hmm.
is what we call hunger. you know. So we have to pay attention to our addictive principles that we have here. Now I'm gonna go down to addictive syndrome, and I'm gonna read it, and I want your feedback, okay? And this is not
Okay.
only gonna help you, it's gonna help me as well. All right, all right. The ingestion of the toxic an addicting substance or the indulgence in the compulsive and destructive habit stimulates a sense of great pleasure, extreme well-being, and or euphoria. The addict feels he is in firm control of his life, and he has a great sense of power with this newfound ego food. Now, we can put this with anything, you know what I'm saying? We can put this with, let's say, this drugs, for example, you know what I'm saying? Um, a person might be feeling low in energy and they take a drug to stimulate them. You know, this
Mm-hmm.
drug to stimulate them, you know, you get run down and you go to now using some new drug, and now this drug give you this boost of ego, like alcohol, for example. Let's look at alcohol. People say they can't do much stuff when they're sober, but when they're on the alcohol, boy, they'll talk back. They'll do all kind of stuff when they actually, you know, take a shot of alcohol. You'll see the most
Right.
timid person become a beast
Right.
under the use of alcohol. Are you familiar
Right.
with something like that?
Yes, I have. Yes, I
Have
am.
you you witnessed that in play in your life before? Have you seen individuals like that?
Absolutely. Yes, it is become incredible, huh? And then how can you explain that? Like, what is happening to their brain when they take the alcohol? What makes them convinced that they can now beat everybody and take on the whole world in that way? It's again a distortment of the mind. So again, I just lack of better words, brain damage. Is that what's happening?
Well, alcohol is definitely going to damage your brain, but all type of stimulants are going to the brain and is going to cause damage to the brain. So it's going to be some damage there regardless. But you get a more release of endorphins and different adrenaline responses because of the use of the poisons, and it causes you to go into the adrenaline stage, the
Okay.
fight or flight response and stuff like that.
Okay.
And in the fight or flight response, you're going to get more blood going to your muscles. You're going to feel stronger. Your vision going to become more alert because anytime the adrenaline is released, that's for you to be able to fight or flight. So you're going to get more strength in your legs. But imagine you're not under attack or anything. You just release adrenaline, and when it became an adrenaline junkie, and you're not actually in fight or flight, you know, or there's nothing to run from. There's nothing to
Right.
fight. You just activating your fight or flight adrenaline response just every time you use the drug. Every time you drink the alcohol, you're releasing your sirens of flight and fight when there's nothing behind you. You know, so but you
Right.
get this
Right.
strength, you get the pull from energy from somewhere, and it's going to you're using up all your energy and not even doing anything. So you feel like you said, the Incredible Hulk, because that's what you're supposed to feel when you're releasing a lot of adrenaline. You see where I'm coming from? So they're
Yes.
going to have
Yes.
that
Yes.
until that wear off. Once that wear off, they want to feel that again. You know, they never felt that strong before until they was under the adrenaline state or under the adrenaline response. They feel in
Hmm.
power, in control when they got that adrenaline flowing through you. They say, "I've never felt so much alive."
So alive, be so
You know what I'm
alive
saying?
before. I've heard people say that they never felt so alive before. So then, how do they release that kind of adrenaline naturally without causing a having to repay in the end? In the long run, how do you
That's
do
the
that without having to cost you?
well, that's the positive addictions. You can get that from, you know, like for example, you get up there and read a book to somebody for the first time, and you're a little child, and you get up there and everybody clap for you and stuff like that. Oh, that's an amazing feeling. Or you know,
Right,
somebody, you know, do something great for you. That's an amazing feeling. You accomplish something in your life
right,
and you get
right.
recognition. That is a positive feeling. You know what I'm saying? So it releases
Uh-huh.
the same endorphins in your body as well as that negative when you're trying to jump off a mountain with a bungee cord and you be oh, you know. So it's the same way, but you can get it a more positive way. That's just like what cocaine. Cocaine can release dopamine in your deep limbic system, but also love can do the same thing. You see people eyes wide open when they're on cocaine, right? You see people in love, they eyes wide open. You know what I'm saying? So there's always a positive way to get a good emotional state, or there's a negative way to try to steal it. You know, say you're stealing it using drugs and the unnatural ways. You're trying to steal that high, but you can get the high naturally from doing positive things, meaningful goals, worthwhile life practices and stuff like that. So it's always a natural way to do it, guys. All right. So the chronic stimulation demanded by the addict's habit eventually exhausts nerve energy reserves and leads to low energy, depression, and malaise. Pathological symptoms appear. Total innervation, toxemia, and the descent into disease is the dark destiny of the addict. So once you start indulging in this stimulation or this destructive habit, and your body tend to crave it now because you feel so alive and stuff like that, you're going to fast approach a fatigue, a failure of energy, because you're using your energy at a rapid rate here. So your body is going to come down to a state of exhaustion. You're going to reach a state of exhaustion. And when you start reaching a state of exhaustion, your body is going to start showing signs of deterioration, signs of failure. Your kidneys is not going to work properly after drinking so much and you don't wasted all your energy getting rid of alcohol. Your lungs is going to have issues. Your brain is going to have issues. You know, all the symptoms are going to start showing up in your body as a fatigue, a failure to operate properly because you don't have energy, because all your energy has been squandered away with this stimulation, stimulating your energy. Because every time you use a stimulation, remember we talked about the law of stimulation earlier in dual effect. We had talked about that when we were talking about how a stimulant don't give you energy. A stimulant calls forth energy from your reserves. You know, when you use a laxative ain't giving you power to use the bathroom. It's calling forth power that your body was preserving or conserving for something more important. But when the laxative got into your system, the body saw that as a direct threat to kill you. So the body put aside all this other business and now came and took
Rushing
hold
to
of
your
that
aid.
laxative and took it
Hmm.
out via your colon, because that's the best, safest route to get rid of a laxative is through the
Right.
colon. So
Right.
happened everything that was in the colon also went out along with the laxative. And so the laxative get the praise when in fact the body was preserving
The one
itself to
got
get
rid
rid
of
of the
it.
laxative.
Right. Right.
But in doing so, now the colon is going to take an even longer break now to rest because it had to use power that it
Had
didn't
to
even
overwork
have.
itself. Right.
Right. It had to use power from the kidneys, and now the kidneys is going to shut down a little bit because it had to lend its power to the colon every time you use a laxative. And then it might have to use some from the heart. It may have to use some from the
Hey, you
brain.
ever heard
So,
that saying? Rob Peter to pay Paul?
and that's exactly what they're doing. They're robbing Peter to pay Paul. Cause all right, so
Goddamn
continued
charger.
doses or indulgence do not induce the original high. Now, this is a good part to understand here too. Continued doses or indulgences do not induce the original high. Stronger doses are needed. The body develops a tolerance to the poisoning compulsion. All right. So here we seeing that now we're reaching a point of toleration or adaptation. This is what we consider to be the law of adaptation. I don't know if I lost you there, cuz look like you froze. So when you come back in, we're going to start back talking to you. So I'm just going to go ahead and talk until we see you come back into the show. And we're going to take a break in a second as well. But here we're talking about continued use of a poison is going to eventually cause the body to adapt to the incoming poison. This is the law of adaptation. any substance or stimulant that the body can't control or keep coming into the body, and the body have to use up its energy to keep trying to get rid of it or trying to neutralize it, the body is going to eventually hurry up and reach a state of exhaustion, of failure, and the body doesn't is not going to give all this power away to keep battling a substance that it can't counteract with, because soon as the body deal with that alcohol, you put more in, and then the body got to waste energy and deal with that one, then you put more in, and the body got to use up its energy to keep dealing with your bad habits. So the body is going to say, well, if I continuously keep doing that, I'm going to exhaust all my energy and I'm going to die prematurely. So what I'm going to do is allow you to drink this poison and store it in out of the way areas, or let it just bring down my level of health just a little bit. But I won't burn out all my energy. So the body tends to tolerate that fifth of liquor. Then it learns to tolerate that half a gallon. Then it starts to tolerate the whole gallon. Because every time you keep putting it in, the body is going to react more, and you're going to have to need more and more to get the same reaction. That reaction is your high. When your body starts making you numb and dumb and causing you to act erratic and all type of anxiety and all type of stuff, that's your high. And for you to get that reaction, your body must use its energy to react. And so if it's unable to react because the body didn't learn to tolerate the poison, then you're going to need more poison to generate that toleration, that reaction, that high, in other words. So you're going down a syndrome here. Now, painful withdrawal symptoms, both physical and emotional, mental, are experienced in periods of abstinence. Without counseling, the addict is likely to resent these periods of abstinence and long just to get back with his drug and or compulsive habit. So if you were to stay away from a drug for a while, or addictive habit or something like that, you're going to go through withdrawal, and it can bring on depression. And if you don't have a qualified person or someone who can help walk you through it, someone who been through the thing, that's why they got these AA meetings and they got these NA meetings. They even got overweight, Overeaters Anonymous as well. So you got anonymous programs for just about everything mankind is addicted to or suffers from. A group that's can actually help you get out of your problem. You got Sex Anonymous, sexaholics, Sex Anonymous, people who overwork, people who spend too much money, shopaholics and stuff like that. So there's a group designed to help anybody break free from the addictive syndrome that they're going down. And you need help during those painful times to help you push through them until your body break free from the chain that substance or that habit has on you. So we're going to stop there and come and take a quick little break, and we're coming right back to finish this addictive syndrome, and then we're going to go into the perils of procrastination. So we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Katie Brewington and I'm running for Magistrate Court Judge. Magistrate court is often called the people's court because people represent themselves or are pro se litigants. Magistrate court handles civil claims up to $15,000, dispossessory proceedings, pre warrant applications, and good behavior bonds. I'm a great candidate for judge because I have the experience, compassion, and drive to get the job done. I have been a probation officer, a criminal defense attorney, a solicitor, and a municipal court judge, and I will take all of that experience to get the job done. So remember, vote Katie Brewington, May 21st, for Magistrate.
All right, thank you for sticking with us. I'm going to go a little bit faster. Hopefully, you can follow me. I may have to do a little bit of this show next week as well because there's so much valuable information that need to be put out where you can understand when you're going through addictive syndrome and you need help. You know, you don't always have to go through this alone. There are qualified people that can help guide you out of your destructive habits and stuff like that. Matter of fact, is one counselor would always say, set your environment up for success, even though you may not, you know, be ready to stop a thing. Well, put yourself in an environment where it's not there, or where people are going to talk you out of it, and eventually you will get out of it. You know, people, they have to get out of their homes, you know, from eating bad by by getting away from the people who constantly making them eat. You got some people who got friends that's all their friends because they love to eat, or they love to drink, or they love to use drugs. They say birds of a feather flock together. So you may have to change some of your environment if you want to change, what you're doing, your habits and stuff like that. You can't expect to, be playing baseball on a football field. You're going to end up playing football if you with a whole bunch of people who got football gear on and they're playing football. You're not going to have nobody to play with if you want to play baseball. You're going to eventually start playing football with them where you can be a part of the team and be a part of the group. But if you, unless you're going to change everybody into playing baseball, that's going to be a lot of change. You're going to have to be a really energetic, powerful person to pull all those people to stop them from playing football on the football field when that's all they got is a football and a whole bunch of football gear. All right. But you want to take yourself away from there, even if you have football gear on and you don't want to play football no more, you go to baseball and plant yourself there, them folks going to talk you out of that football. They can say, you don't need to weigh that. That's not going to work here. Get you this clothes on, get you a bat, get you a glove and stuff like that, right? So you're not going to need them shoulder pads and all stuff like that. So they're going to walk you out of it, help you get what you need where you can start playing the game of baseball. So it'd be ideal for you to start setting your environment up for success. That's why even in the Bible, they tell you to come as you are. They want you to come as you are. Don't change and then come to church. The church is what's going to change you. When you get there, you're going to start seeing the women in the church not wearing the clothes revealing of their bodies. You're going to see them not, some of the churches, some of the old religion churches. But the teachings are going to be in making you a better person. You're not going to see people in there, going to church drinking, except for on Sunday when they doing communion. But in our church, they did grape juice, but it was just a ritual. But you're not going to see people in there using drugs, except for those ones who are backsliding and going back out into the street. And you're going to see their destruction. You'll see the people who are in church doing right, they're benefiting. Their life is great. You see the people who in the gyms, the one who's eating right, going to the health food store, people who growing their own food. You're gonna see that the people who are engaged in healthy habits are healthy, and the people who are engaged in unhealthy habits are unhealthy. So you want to stick around those people who are healthy. Now, I got to stop. our minister that came in. I lost one of my guests today, and I got another one. Our minister came in. Hey there, Minister of Health. How are you doing today, ma'am?
Good evening, Dr. Frazier. I'm doing well. How are you, sir?
I'm doing excellent. Were you able to listen to some of our show so far?
No, sir. I am so green, but I hear you talking about the good people in church. I heard you say that the church is gonna change you because you gonna get in there and they're not gonna be doing that. Well, some of them, and they're not
Right.
gonna be wearing that. Well, some of them, and they're not gonna have that. Well, some of them.
Right. We got to make sure it's the right environment still. You know what I mean? And that's even with health. When you change your life into a healthful lifestyle, well, you got to be careful what diet you're going in. They got the meat and eater diet out here. They got the Atkins diet, the keto diet. They got the South Beach diet. Who knows what church to go to? You know what I'm saying? But if you look at those people in the church and evaluate them, you can see which one would be the ideal. Same thing with your health. The people who are living a holistic lifestyle, and those people who are not suffering from disease are removing their diseases from them, tend to be the ones that we should gravitate towards, and not the medical profession. Because if we look at the medical profession, look how they look. They can't even save themselves. How you going to tell me Jesus is the savior and he's not saving your life? You know what I'm saying? You got to tell me that this pill is the cure. Well, why didn't it cure you? Why are you still suffering with diabetes? Why so many medical doctors are dying from cancer and all these different diseases that they so-called supposed to be healing people of? Can you make sense of that, Michaela?
Yeah, we're all but human. So, we backslide. We do that. Um, we think that, and we've been indoctrinated. It's not an easy journey to, I mean, narrow is the road and few who find it. So,
Well,
I mean,
well,
it makes sense though.
yeah. So what we're doing is we're talking about addiction and the perils of procrastination, of breaking away from anything that is toxic in your world. Now, it's not just the addiction of drugs or anything. We're talking about any addiction or negative addiction, emotional unbalance, anything that is toxic in your environment that doesn't create health in you or waste away your energy. We're saying it's very important that you cut loose with and ties with those things immediately, and don't wait. Like how you say how the Bible say, the day you hear my voice, harden not your heart. Don't be like those rebels or whatever. But you make a change right now today, because it was this old church song that you say, don't wait on tomorrow, sun, because tomorrow's sun may shine upon your grave. Don't you wait on tomorrow's sun. So it's very important that we make these changes today, because we're not promised tomorrow unless we do what we're supposed to do today. We're promised sickness if we disobey the laws of our being, you know what I'm saying, today. We're promised to be sick tomorrow. We promised death. The Bible says, for all sin leads to death. So here it is. We need to stop the procrastination and break these addictions right now. And what we're doing is going over addictions to show people the addictive syndrome, where they can see the addictive things that they have in their life. And we started off talking about, they first indulge in this toxic habit, um, be it some type of stimulant or whatever, and it gives them an ego trip. They get this profound energy from it, you know what I mean? And they love it. They never felt so alive when they without this thing before, and now they like, I need more of that. I need more of this in my life. I need to do this more often. And it puts me in a fight or flight response, and I'm using adrenaline, and it got my heart pumping. It got me so alert. I've never felt so alert before, because the body is in a state of panic, because you just did something that the body have to be in a fight or flight response from, or you have to respond to. Once that happened, it eventually, being in that high state of adrenaline state for so long, it depletes your nerve energy, And now your body is going to start showing telltale signs of breakdown, wear and tear from exhaustion, and fatigue from overuse of the organs and tissues that are keeping you in this adrenaline state. And then it's going to cause you to continually indulge in that original high. You're going to keep wanting to go back to that original high to try to get that height back, because once you get that nerve exhaustion, you're going to say you're going to be at an all-time low. Now you're going to be lower than you was before you even used the stimulant, and now you're going to have to take even more of the stimulant to get back to that high again. And that's when you're going into the law of toleration. I talked to them a little bit about the law of accommodation as well. And then you're going to start having painful withdrawal symptoms that when you don't do it, you're going to feel like, oh, woe is me, oh God. And you're going to hate these periods of withdrawal if you don't have someone to help guide you through it. Like I was telling them about, like AA and churches and pastors and different counselors that can come and help people to get through these addictive, this addictive properties to help you get emotional poise and balance back in your life, where you can break free from these chains that are keeping you in this negative state of being. And then I was going into, so I just brought you up to speed now, and now we're going forward from there now. All right.
Okay.
Are you with me here? Are you
I
familiar with any of those things I'm saying?
A little bit of tolerance.
I got you. All right. So the addict becomes dependent on the substance or compulsion in order to feel good, or in order to even function at all. Once the upper levels of tolerance are reached, the individual cannot achieve a sense of well-being or a high at all. He has become a full-blown addict and cannot manage his life without living in addiction. He socially isolates himself from those who care about him and prefers to keep company with other addicts or to be alone. So here we seeing that the person, if they keep on indulging in the compulsive habit, it's going to become a point where their body is going to reach a level, top level of toleration, where it's no longer going to put up with that anymore. And we see that with medical drugs, where the doctor said, well, the individual is not responding to the medicine anymore. So their body was responding first to the medicine first. And if you notice what that just said too, Michaela, the body is no longer responding. Now, if drugs got power and work, well, why is it not doing anything in this person now? Why
Right.
their body is not tolerating or not responding?
Why can't it make the body do something? Right.
If it's supposed to have power and it's going to cause the body to do this. I see this so much on my posts. I see so much on social media. These people who are out here selling herbs and remedies and stuff like that. And I always ask them when I see them, I say, well, what's the modus operandi? You know what I'm saying? What gives this toxic thing power to act? You know what I'm saying? How does it act? Like, what does it do to the body that it can force the body into doing something? Then here it again, is forcing the body to act on it. It's so toxic that the body must respond and retaliate to this substance when it's taken into the body. So they're saying that this stuff is good for liver detox. This is good for heart detox. How? How does this thing know to go into the body and go to the heart and clean out the heart? Like, is this some smart tea? Like, is this tea so smart that it won't never make a wrong turn and go to the kidney? It won't never make a wrong turn and go to the lung? How do it know to go to the heart every time? And in every person, you know what I'm saying? This is some smart stuff. These some smart herbs and remedies, ain't it? Some smart drugs. But when we look at it in hygiene, we see that it's actually the body using the preferred route in which to get rid of a certain toxic. And since our bodies are all the same, if we ingest some toxic poison, our body is going to pretty much use the same route. That's what toxicology is all about. Anybody who studied toxicology going to see that toxicologists study to see In what dosage will a person vomit from a poison? And at what dosage will a person die from that poison? If you take this poison in this amount, it will only cause griping pain in your stomach, or it will cause nausea, or it will cause something, and that's why doctors use that. If they have something that a poison that'll make you have diarrhea, then they're going to call it a laxative. If it's something that's
Mhm.
going to make you urinate a lot to get rid of it, they're going to say, "Oh, this is a diuretic." You know what I'm saying? So all these different effects that the drugs produce on the body are really just poisonous detoxification of the body. It's the body acting on these poisons. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. Hygienically, because excuse me, anything that you put on the body is either going to use it, or in the body, excuse me, is either going to use it or it's going to seek to eliminate it from the body. Either it can use it or it can't.
Right.
Um, it's as simple as that. No matter what it is, whether it's food or an herb or a drug, whatever it be, the body
It's either a
has
poison or
proven
it's
to
food, right?
I'm sorry.
It's a poison or food, right?
Either it's either or. If it's food, the body will use it. If it's poison, the body's going to reject it until, of course, it can no longer reject it.
Now, certain stuff can be rejected via normal routes, like it can cause you to have excessive urination, excessive
Mhm.
bowel action, or something like that. But every so often, we put poisons in our body that can't go down those regular routes, and they must be eliminated out through abnormal routes of elimination. Those when we start
Mhm.
seeing the symptoms that we call disease. We see sneezing going on. We see coughing going on. We see boils coming out of our skin, toxins being eliminated, thrown out of the skin. So the body is ridding itself of this poison via routes that causes us discomforts or diseases and stuff like that. But that's what we call, sickness. And
Mhm.
we want to what? Stop that from
You
coming
wanna
out.
stop
And what does that do when we stop it from
it.
coming out?
It suppresses it. It keeps it in. It keeps it in, and it further damages tissues, organs, and the body at a cellular level. It just continues to do the damage because you don't allow it out. You wear out uh, the modes of elimination that are normal,
Right.
and then the body has to then compensate and eliminate those toxins in a different way.
And then at the end stage, you got to just sit there and tolerate them and die. That's the
Right.
last stage where
Yeah.
it don't even have power to even create an abnormal route anymore to get rid of the
Right.
waste. So it just sit there and succumb to the poison, and it
Right.
start hardening, degenerating, and dying. Cells and tissues start dying. But you always throw me on nutrition and holistic health. I swear you're a natural hygienic minister to your heart. But we're on emotional balance here, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So you always take us right back to nutrition. But this is holistic health living
Well,
practices now, not
don't
nutritional health.
don't worry. Be happy. It's all a choice. You
Yes,
get to decide.
yes. All right. So the addict, he socially isolates himself from those who care about him. And we see this with addicts all the time. Misery loves company, right? And so they go and seek the same company that, you never see no crackhead hanging out with a sober preacher or nothing like that. They don't hang out together. He can't smoke his crack. And then the preacher ain't gonna be around no crackhead anyhow like that unless he's trying to help him overcome that. So the crackhead's gonna be found in a crack house with other crackheads. You know what I mean? They're gonna be in like places. You know what I mean? You're not gonna. You got these different restaurants. They're gonna have the people who love their foods coming there to eat just those foods, those addictive foods that they love to cook. And you got the oxtail place, you got the Chinese place, you got the seafood places, you got all these different places that people you will find some of the same people. There'll be regulars there because that's their stimulation, that's their habit. The regulars, they know them by name. Most of the people who go in certain restaurants. Oh, there you go. You want your regular today? That's what it's going to be for 'em. So, but they kind of get away. You see people dodging their trainers and stuff like that. If you remember back in the days when we used to go place, people go and start hiding their food or putting up stuff when we're coming in or something like that. Oh, they go
Yeah.
dark. You know what I'm saying? I'm eating fruits. That's what they're gonna say. But so they'll hide their habits from us, because they know we're gonna. Hey, you gotta let that go. Let's. We're gonna try to work and try to free them from the addictive things that's causing their suffering. A lot of them used to run from Jesus. They hide from him when he was walking around. Because he's gonna shed light to their darkness and bring them up out of that darkness. So they wanted to stay in that darkness. Hey, it ain't time for us. I ain't ready yet. Let me go over here and chill out in these pigs or something. You know what I'm saying? I'm not ready to be freed yet or anything like that. So the addict continues the habit and begins experimenting with even other stimulating substances or habits in an elusive attempt to recapture the original high. So the cigarettes don't get me to that no more. Now I need weed, marijuana. Marijuana ain't getting me there no more. Now I need, cocaine. Cocaine ain't doing it for me no more. Now I need heroin. They always say that, these are gateway drugs, but all types of poisons are gateways to more poison. It's not that just, recreational drugs are gateway to higher recreational drugs, but all poisonous habits. You wouldn't go into some really bad sexual stuff unless you started indulging in some bad sexual habits and you worked up and need more excitement. Certain regular sexual habits don't excite you anymore because you overindulged in them. And now you need some excitement to your sex life. Now you need to add something that you would normally add. And now once you wear that out so much, now you need to add something else to add something else and add something else till you become a full-blown sexual pervert or something like that. We see that in even those who go out and end up start raping people and stuff. They get a high from that. So all these things we have to pay attention to, that we don't go down this syndrome. We can break ourselves from being so addictive to these things in life if we curtail those minor addictions and get them out of our world. All right, we're running out of time here, and I haven't even got to the perils of procrastination. So we're going to finish a lot of this off next week. So make sure you tune in next week, and we're going to finish this off. But I'm going to finish this last one, and then we're going to sign off and greet you for next week. But this is your health coach, Dr. Ferrante Frazier with Savannah Natural Health. If you're looking to get over some sickness or, get over some issues in your world, you can definitely get in touch with us at heal.me/FF. So that's heal.me/FF. Or you can contact us at 912-227-9335. We are not medical doctors. We are holistic practitioners teaching you the sound way of health without using any medicine, herbs, remedies, or anything like that. Thank you for putting that up there. It's heal.me/FF. Definitely get in contact with us up there. If you can leave that up there until we sign off. So the addict is finally hooked. By now, his social relationships are usually in tatters with no escape in sight. His lifestyle is a portrait of self-destruction. Indeed, psychological, social, physical, and physiological disorders of many types and degrees typify the addiction syndrome. So you're really turning yourself into a straight out, full-blown addict when you allow yourself to run down this whole syndrome. All right. Now, we're going to finish it off with this definition. Remember, we started off with the definition is by definition the continual and irresistible repetition of a destructive practice that leads to progressively worsening stages of mental, emotional, physical health. Now, we're going to sum it up here as an addiction is any process over which we are powerless. It takes control of us. causing us to do and think things that are inconsistent with our highest personal values, and leading us to become progressively more compulsive and obsessive. A sure sign of an addiction is the sudden need to deceive others and ourselves, to lie, deny, and cover up. So, anytime we have to lie, to deny, and cover up what we're doing, then obviously we're doing something we're not proud of. It's not our highest value. Oh, you're back. We're actually about to close out now, But we're given the last definition of addiction, which is any process over which we are powerless. It takes control of us, causing us to do and think things that are inconsistent with our highest personal values, and leading us to become progressively more compulsive and obsessive. A sure sign of an addiction is the sudden need to deceive ourselves and others, to lie, deny, and cover up. When we start noticing that we're lying about what we're doing, we're denying that it got power over us, and we're covering up what we're doing, we're surely in a state of addiction. And we definitely should look for help in getting over the addiction. So I want to thank everyone who tuned in. I want to thank you, Miss Tia, for coming, Amy, showing back up. I just lost every time I lost you. Michaela came in, and then as soon as I lost Michaela, you came back. You showed back up. So I was never left alone. I thank both of y'all for tuning in. We can't hear you.
I'm trying to unmute it.
Oh, Michaela says she's going to hang out in the chat for right now.
Okay, you hear me now? You hear me
I
now?
can hear you now. I can hear you now. But thank you so much.
Okay,
We're running out of time.
I said that's how.
Go ahead. Oh, yeah, we got like
I
10
said that's
seconds,
how
so
Michaela and I work with you in real life.
yes. But I want both of y'all at the same time. So best of health and happiness from Savannah Natural Health. We'll see y'all next week. Be blessed.
like that.